I will walk through creating a virtual desktop in Ansys Gateway powered by AWS. I'm starting with a fresh project space, which a tenant admin has created for me. Click New Resource and create Virtual Desktop. This opens up a wizard which I step through to create the VM. You can refer to the documentation for this process. Clicking on the Help brings up this documentation. I suggest looking at the recommended usage guide for the applications you plan to use. Check recommended configurations by application to see recommendations specific to each application. In this case, I'll be creating this VM to do pre- and post-processing for Fluent and Mechanical. So I would check the Fluids and Mechanical configurations for Virtual Desktop. Here I can also find a link to the general instructions which walk through each step of the process. Stepping through the wizard, first choose the availability zone where the VM will reside. If a template has been created, I can select it to skip to the end of the process using the settings in the template. In this case, I will step through the whole process and choose my settings manually. Next is the OS. I will create a Windows desktop, but the process is the same for Linux. Now select the application packages to install. These packages are prepared and maintained by Ansys. They can be selected now or after the VM is running. Notice most of the packages are for Ansys products, but there are a few third-party tools such as 7-zip. I first select the Fluids package, which brings up configuration options specific to this package. In this case, the administrator has populated the license settings for me, but they can be modified as needed. To add additional packages, click Add Application and select another. You can see Mechanical has many more options. I'll accept the defaults and add 7-zip and Firefox. When finished, I continue to the next step of hardware selection. There are hundreds of choices, so to make things easier, we provide a convenient link to our recommendations. Check the recommended instance types for VDI workflows. Consider your desired use cases and applications and try to find an instance type that best satisfies all needs. In this example, I plan to use the desktop for pre- and post-processing, while I submit my jobs to the cluster for solving. So I would like a node with a GPU, but don't need powerful CPU or large amounts of RAM. I will use Fluent and Mechanical for sure, and will likely use Discovery for geometry prep. G4DN is recommended for all of these applications, so I make it my first choice. It is possible that your desired instance type is not available in the selected availability zone, or that you have insufficient quota. Typing in the search bar filters out most instances, leaving several sizes of the same family. Select one that fits your needs for CPU, RAM, and cost. If the options are available, verify that hyperthreading is disabled and the grid drivers are selected. One or more EBS storage drives will be attached to the VM to act as persistent storage. The default and minimum of 128 gigabytes is enough for most applications, but if you want significantly more, choose a larger size, a second disk, or use a network drive configured elsewhere. Fill out any tags, then proceed to name the VM and verify your selections. You can create a template using these settings, and when finished, create the desktop. This will return to the project space, where the new VM is being prepared. The process will go through several stages, ending with the VM in the running state. Depending on the project space settings, auto shutdown timers may be active. You can disable them here. In any case, the full installation should finish before shutting down. Once the VM is running, you can install additional packages under Applications. Add Application. Any applications not shown in the list can be installed manually from the VM. When the VM is running, click Connect to connect over RDP.